I'm Joe Lample. When I created Growing a Greener World, I had one goal: to tell stories of everyday people, innovators, entrepreneurs, forward-thinking leaders who are all, in ways both big and small, dedicated to organic gardening and farming, lightening our footprint, conserving vital resources, protecting natural habitats, making a tangible difference for us all. They're real, they're passionate, they're all around us. They're the game changers who are literally growing a greener world and inspiring the rest of us to do the same. Growing a Greener World, it's more than a movement, it's our mission. If you're a fan of the show, you know that Teresa Low is an urban homesteader in Los Angeles, and she's also our canning and preserving expert and associate producer for our show. In season 1, we visited her backyard homestead and talked about her urban chickens. But today we wanted to continue the story of chicken keeping with Teresa, and this time we're bringing her across the country to Raleigh, North Carolina. Chicken owners in Raleigh, as well as in other parts of the country, are organizing tours of their gardens and coops. It's a great way to exchange ideas and showcase the best in housing designs. Teresa and I are visiting some of the homes in Raleigh's Tour to Coop, which also doubles as a fundraiser for a local charity. Going on a tour like this is a great way for veteran chicken keepers to get new ideas, and even if you're not into chickens yet, a tour like this just might convince you to give it a try. So Teresa, this interest in raising your own backyard chickens, it continues to grow in popularity. What do you think is behind all of that?
Well, I think as more and more people are getting into local and sustainable food and they're starting to grow their own produce and learn about the wonderful flavors there, it's just a natural next step to have backyard chickens. You get the wonderful flavor of the eggs. They're natural recyclers. And I also think that chickens just breathe life into a garden. They each have their own personalities. They follow you around as little helpers in the garden, and visitors always find them charming.
Now here's a coop on the tour that I think a lot more people are going to relate to. It's certainly a simpler design. I really like this.
It's great. This is great.
And I also think a lot of people are surprised to find out how little work is really involved in taking care of chickens. A few minutes a day, right? You feed them, you make sure they have water, and you certainly want to make sure you get the eggs. But you don't need to walk them, you don't need to groom them, none of that.
You know, there's another misconception. A lot of people think that there's going to be a smell when you have chickens, but absolutely that is not the case if you keep the coop clean. Just like with any pet, you clean the coop, there's no smell. If you have a smell, you have a problem. Now the coop is lined with bedding material, the most common being pine shavings. And what's great about that is that it's inexpensive to use, and when you clean out your coop, you put all of that into the composter.
Now when it comes to chickens, you don't have to worry about the noise. Unless you have one of these guys. They don't just crow in the morning. They crow all day long.
Exactly, and that's why a lot of city ordinances won't allow you to have any roosters. But that's okay. You don't have to have any roosters to get these eggs.
As a first step, every newbie chicken owner should check with city ordinances to find out if you can even have chickens, and if so, is there a limit to how many you can have?
And after that, you just need to decide what's your main purpose in having chickens. Do you want them for the eggs? Do you want them for meat? Or are you just looking for a great family pet?
Now it's important to do some research first to find out what breeds are best for you. And we have some great links and resources on our website at growingagreenerworld.com.
And you know, space is another important consideration. You need about 3 square feet per chicken in the hen house and about another 7 to 10 square feet outside of the coop.
And something else that's important to remember, chickens are social. Don't just get one bird or they'll be very unhappy. 2 to 3 at the minimum. And the more birds you have, the more eggs you'll get.
Now, depending on the breed, you'll get about 1 egg each day from each chicken in the spring and summer months. In the winter, when daylight's shorter, they take a little break and you may not get any eggs at all.
Another thing to keep in mind is that a hen is only productive the first few years. After that, she lays less eggs each year and eventually stops laying eggs at all, but you'll still have her as a pet for 8 years or more.
You'll find that fresh eggs have excellent flavor, better than store-bought eggs. And the trick to keeping that flavor is to collect them every morning and store them without washing them, with the narrow end pointed down. That's to keep the yolk suspended in the center.
The shell of the egg is porous and covered in a protective coating to keep bacteria from seeping in. If you wash it ahead of use, you remove the protective layer and the eggs won't last as long and could pick up other flavors from your refrigerator.
To get the best flavor and nutritional value from your chicken's eggs, you need to feed them properly. When they're old enough to lay eggs, give them a feed that is especially formulated for laying chickens. You can also give them a grit, which is a mixture of tiny stones that aids in their digestion. Keep in mind that chickens are not picky eaters, and they love greens, weeds, and even kitchen scraps. But don't feed them onions or garlic, as this will affect the flavor of their eggs. When you're ready to start your own flock, you can buy yourself some young hens, or you can get yourself some baby chicks.
Baby chicks are available from feed supply stores, and believe it or not, you can even buy them online through mail order. Once hatched, a baby chick can go without food or water for about 48 hours, just long enough to be shipped. Sometimes this is the best way to get unusual breeds. Most mail-order hatcheries require you to order 24 chicks at a time, but there are companies that will let you order as few as 3 to 5 chicks. But whether you order online or pick up baby chicks at your local feed store, you need to buy all of your equipment on or before the moment you get them home. These chicks are very delicate, and for the first few weeks, they really need to be constantly monitored. First, you need a box or container for them to live in. You can start out small, but you'll need to move up to a larger box in just a few short weeks. Second, you need to keep them warm with a heat lamp. It's best to keep the lamp to one side of the box so that chicks can move away from the heat if they get too warm. You also need to provide them with special starter food and fresh water every day. And lastly, the chicks need to be kept inside, away from drafts, until they're about 5 to 6 weeks old. After that, they can move outside to the grown-up coop. Just a few important points to remember when raising baby chicks. First, you really need to keep a level head because they're all very cute and you'll want to keep them all. But they do grow up, and you've got to have the space and accommodations to keep them healthy and happy. Second, you'll probably get a rooster or two, and you must have a plan on what to do with these roosters if you're not allowed to have them in your city. Some people get so excited about having backyard chickens, they go all out. They order storage buildings like this and they convert them to chicken coops, and that works great, especially if you have a lot of chickens. But for most backyard chicken owners, a smaller coop is more appropriate, like this one. Now this belongs to a family, their chickens are on the way, but everything else is ready to go. This one happens to be 5 feet by 6 feet, but they actually ordered it online. They specified the paint color and they had it shipped here. But it's almost like buying a car these days when you buy a coop. There's all kinds of options that you can pick, and this one happens to be loaded with features. This coop has nesting boxes with easy access from the outside. Although there are only 6 boxes, that's not a problem because chickens don't mind sharing. Another important feature of any coop is ventilation, and this one has lots of it, with 2 windows on the front and 1 across the back. A really nice feature of this coop is the easy clean-out access. Once you get a few chickens roosting inside, you'll really appreciate this feature. All coops need an access door for chickens to come in and out, but this one has the added feature of an automatic door that opens at dawn and closes at dusk. Inside the coop, it's wired for electricity, including 2 electrical outlets. The roosting bars are conveniently located over the clean-out tray. In fact, the entire floor has a coating of vinyl, which makes the entire cleanup a lot easier. Now, you never want your chickens to be cooped up for very long, which is why they need a safe place to go outside. And in this case, it's provided by the optional run. Now, the chickens are safe because of this metal vinyl-coated wire on the sides and all across the top. And that's equally as important because of the birds of prey. And because these chickens can get underneath the coop, you need that protection around the perimeter as well, and that's provided in this case. Oh yeah, you need to get in and out of here as well to do your cleanup, and you have a door for that. Now, if you'd like more information on chicken coops, whether you buy them online or make them yourself, you can get that on our website at growingagreenerworld.com. So if the coop really is your biggest investment when starting a backyard flock, it makes sense to think carefully about all the elements you need in a well-designed coop. And to help us with that is Todd Brock. Now Todd is an expert at putting things together. Not only is he an avid do-it-yourselfer and the author of Building Chicken Coops for Dummies, but he's also our consulting producer with over 1,000 television episodes under his belt. He knows a thing or two about putting things together in a big way. You know, one of the things I love about a chicken coop is the chickens don't care if their house is worthy of a magazine cover, right Todd?
Yeah, they couldn't care less about your construction skills.
Good.
And actually building a chicken coop yourself, it's a great project for even a rookie do-it-yourselfer, and it's a good way to find out if raising chickens is even a good hobby for you. You don't have to spend a lot of time or money to figure that out. We've got the lumber here that we're gonna build a perfectly good coop for 4 to 6 chickens. We'll do it in a single afternoon, $200 grand total.
And that's starting from scratch, right? I mean, we could assemble items from around the house and really get that cost down even more.
Yeah, if you've got a pile of leftover wood, scrap lumber from some other project, every piece of that you can use is a piece you don't have to buy.
That's my kind of project.
So it starts with the floor. We put our floor frame together out of basic 2x4 lumber, nailed that together, and then we put plywood decking on top. That's going to be the actual floor of the coop. And this is just 4 feet by 4 feet. That's the footprint of the entire coop.
And then you just bring it to its final location, but you don't set it directly onto the grass because the moisture in the soil and the grass is not good when it comes in direct contact with the wood.
Yeah, that direct soil to wood contact is just going to make the wood rot faster, and we don't want that. So if you can get the coop up off the ground, even by a few inches, the coop will last longer and the chickens will actually like it better. So we've got these concrete pier blocks that we picked up at the Home Improvement Center. They've got the recesses in the top, and that's going to accept a 2x4 when it's laid on its side. So this should just lock into place like that. And we've got a solid elevated surface for us to build the rest of the coop on.
Very easy.
With the floor in, we could move on to the wall frames, and we used 4x4 posts at each of the 4 corners, and those are basically our studs. And the reason we use big 4x4s is if with those on the corners, we don't have to put interior studs the way we would do on a wall inside your house. It's just less lumber to buy, fewer cuts to make, makes everything a little bit simpler. So the wall frames went up, and they're not going anywhere.
No, they're not. But I noticed one is obviously taller than the others, and there's a reason for that, no doubt.
Yeah, that is the front wall. So when we put a roof on here, that's going to give us the pitch we need so that rainwater sheds away from the coop.
And you were telling me about a tip that you learned at the lumber yard that is really going to cut down on the amount of work involved.
Yeah, this coop was designed to be easy to build in every aspect, right down to making the cuts. There's no angled cuts anywhere in the coop. All of the straight cuts are made on either a full inch or a half inch, so you don't need to get into any crazy carpentry. When you get to the lumber yard and you're dealing with these 4 by 8 foot sheets of plywood that are very heavy and very awkward to deal with, the lumber yard will actually make one cut per sheet for you for free so that you can get it into your car. The trick is you tell them where you want the cut to be. So if you show up with the measurements in hand, you tell them exactly where to make the cut, and they've done half the work for you.
Brilliant. Okay, I think we've got it, Todd. It looks like a coop to me.
Yeah, it's not terribly pretty, but it'll get the job done.
Yeah, but for less than a couple $100 and a few hours in an afternoon, I think we've done pretty well.
Yeah, you know, and really all that's left to do is the roof. You could go plywood sheathing and shingles. You could go corrugated metal or fiberglass panels. Probably something you already have in the garage.
Hopefully so. That'll save some money. I also like how you've created this ventilation space as well as a way to protect anything from coming in here. This is hardware cloth. This isn't chicken wire though.
That's right. Chicken wire sounds like it would be the obvious choice, but that stuff is very flimsy and it doesn't take much at all for a raccoon to work its way through that. So we went with a beefier material, hardware cloth, and we've anchored it with these washers and screws. So this is our ventilation, it's a window, and it's protection.
Yeah, and I really also like how you've turned this wall into the door, so it's very, very efficient.
Again, trying to keep it simple. Instead of building a door, we just put one wall of it on hinges. The key is you've got to have some way to be able to lock it closed. You're not really trying to keep the chickens in. The chickens will want to stay in there. You're trying to keep predators out, and this is tight enough to be able to do that.
And finally, we used the leftover wood for the nesting boxes in the roosting bar.
Yeah, we saved all of our scrap from these cuts and put it all to good use. I think we're ready for chickens.
As homeowners across the country are working towards being more sustainable, they're growing more of their own food, composting, and recycling. And for many, raising chickens is just the next step in sustainability, even if they live in an urban setting. There are so many benefits to be had with backyard chicken keeping, and so much more to learn. Fortunately, we have lots of information waiting for you on our website, including articles and links and videos and recipes from Chef Nathan Lyon. You can find us on our website at growingagreenerworld.com. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Lample, and we'll see you back here next time for more Growing a Greener World.
No smell. You should.
I was doing a good job not laughing.
I'm sorry.
The popularity of raising your own backyard chickens.
Don't go there, Joe. Don't touch me
Nice
there.
chicken. Nice